I'm Sue Stockdale, and welcome to the Access to Inspiration podcast. I think inspiration is like free energy that can be generated when we listen to someone talk about their experiences, insights, and what they have learned about life. Our guest today to inspire you is Carrie Cort, and she was recommended by Karen Espley, one of our podcast guests last year. Carrie describes herself as a mum on a mission, and in 2011, with a 4-year-old son and a growing concern for his future and that of generations to come, she decided to act and launched Sussex Green Living on Earth Day in 2012. Her idea was to develop a network of people working together to create a more sustainable world, and she has certainly done that. The charity is growing fast, and I found her to be a great role model who inspires rather than shames people into beginning or continuing on their carbon reduction journey. Welcome to the podcast, Carrie.
Thanks very much, Sue. Delighted to be here.
Now, you were recommended by one of our previous guests, Karen Espley, who'd been on episode 40 about the accidental adventurer. I'm wondering, how do you know Karen?
I know Karen. She approached me in about 2018 and volunteered at our Horsham Repair Café. And she's just absolutely amazing. She's now leading our Horsham Repair Café, which is one of our outreach initiatives.
Well, that really brings us wonderfully into finding more about what your background is, what is the Horsham Repair Cafe, and what is Sussex Green Living, which I think is the umbrella for everything, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So Sussex Green Living is a charity I founded in 2012, and we provide environmental education through online, in-person events, initiatives in about 14 villages within our district. Mainly working in West Sussex, but it's environmental education and outreach.
I'm wondering what motivated you to start up a charity?
When I came up with the idea, I was a director of a video communications company, a family-run business I've been running with my brother for about 15 years. And at that point, I was a mature mum with a 4-year-old son. And with motherhood came much greater awareness about how we're trashing the planet. Always been an environmentalist, always loved nature and being outside. But I watched 2 films, Al Gore and Inconvenient Truth, another film, Age of the Stupid, and listened to someone who's now one of my great friends speak about the environment. And they took me from depression to action. And that's when Sussex Green Living was born.
I find people can sometimes not get to that point of action, even although they're inspired. And of course, climate change is a global issue that we're hearing very much a lot about. How did you take those first tentative steps into taking action yourself?
Well, I realised that I could either sit back and worry about my son and future generations and all those animals and everybody we share this planet with, or I could use the skills that I'd got. And the idea was to create a network of me, families, individuals on a journey, sharing our knowledge and supporting and inspiring each other. So I describe myself as a mum on a mission, and that's how it started.
How did you get started then?
Initially, my night job was to build the website and to build the social media for Sussex Green Living, this network, and to use the social media. So that's what I did initially. In the early days, just before we launched, I trained as a West Sussex County Council waste prevention advisor, voluntary course to learn about waste and waste management and to help to share the knowledge about actually how we can help the environment through recycling. And then having done that training, I launched Sussex Green Living on Earth Day 2012.
And what does it involve? You talked about the Repair Cafe. What are all the different initiatives that you're doing?
In the early days, it was me giving talks and working in children's groups and the social media communications. And then I left the family business and went full time. Thereafter, lots of work in schools, lots of talks to adult groups, green stand popping up at shows and events. And then gradually people joined us. I mean, certainly in the social media, they joined us, but volunteers, people started stepping forwards and saying, I want to help, love what you're doing, want to help. And really, 2017, when we launched the Horsham Repair Cafe, and it was a visible once a month event, that's when our volunteer base really, really expanded because it was there every single month. And it was like a magnet to people that perhaps were depressed about climate change, wanted to do something about it. And whether it was personally bringing something along to be repaired or coming along to talk to us, it was much more and always has been much more than a repair cafe. And there's lots of other initiatives, which I could ramble on for hours about, that we're running now as well.
So, for the listener that doesn't have an idea of what a repair cafe is, what actually happens there?
A Repair Cafe is a community event that pops up usually once a month, sometimes more, and people book usually to bring along an item, a small household electrical item, mechanical item, clothing, textiles, and our wonderful volunteers try and repair it. But the whole concept of it is that people sit there with them and they learn what is wrong, whether it is repairable, and perhaps next time they might be able to repair it for themselves. Many repair cafes have got other strands. Prior to the current energy crisis, we offered energy switching too. We offer personal hygiene and household cleaning product, bottle refills. People bring the bottle, we fill them up. So our repair cafe is much more than just repairs. It's made up of these amazing, incredible volunteers like Karen, and it's just a really inspiring community to be part of.
So, already I'm getting a sense of education and communication are two important parts of spreading this message of green living.
Yeah, absolutely. Our objective as a charity is education. So it's not just education in schools. Typically, I work in about 65 schools a year. It's education of adults as well, which is absolutely crucial, and sharing inspiring solutions.
And what do you think makes it easier for people to adopt a green way of living? Because we do hear about the importance of taking care of our environment all around in the media these days. And yet, I think sometimes people don't know where to start. What do you think can help them?
I think to be part of a group so they don't feel on their own, to now we're lucky there's all sorts of Zoom events that you can join where you feel part of, you don't feel alone. So that's really, really important. And just to take one step at a time, one foot at a time, to learn. And then the most important thing is to go away and put into practice, because unless we put into practice, we won't change our behavior. It's very hard to change our behavior, but just to take it one step at a time. One of the things we're launching, the Horsham Repair Cafe, is now part of the Sussex Green Hub, which is a much bigger entity. And as part of that, we're offering, as from this month, this weekend, a carbon watchers clinic where people can come along and come back each month, like Weight Watchers. And they come along and they sit down and they talk to us about their lifestyles. And then when we can, non-judgmental, we can say, well, how about trying this? And then giving them some action to go away, put into practice, then come back the following month and let's see, how did you get on? Okay, well, good, you've done it. Or no, you haven't, never mind. Try, or perhaps try this. I know lots of people think, oh, what difference can I make? But if we all make small steps forwards, collectively, we make a big difference.
So, it's about inspiration and action. What are some of the actions that you take, Carrie, in your everyday life that help you to keep on the track of green living?
Oh, constantly obsessed, aren't I, really? Sometimes I wish I could live a normal life. I'm not sure what that is, though. Literally, from day to day, if my husband or son leave the lights on, say, right, I'm going to find you, and I'm going to start a tally chart soon. There has to be a policeman within the household. It is hard to change behaviour, but to observe everything that we're actually doing and think, well, could I do it differently? Could I do it better? And one thing I say to adults and children is, before you ever buy anything or accept anything, think, do I need it? And if I don't need it, then great, brilliant. Or if I do need it, could I buy it better? Could I buy it secondhand? Could I buy it pre-loved from someone down the road rather than coming all the way from China? And if I do need it, where has it come from? What is it made of? And where will it go? Those are the sorts of constant questions I ask myself and I encourage others to ask.
So it's great. You've given us almost like a little checklist there to be reflecting on ourselves in terms of questions and thinking and not just taking habitual behavior that we've had in the past.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm imagining that having set up Sussex Green Living and now you're well into the progress and moving forwards with it, it's not been necessarily plain sailing all the way. What have been some of the challenges that you've encountered and how have you got around them?
Well, in the early days, finding time, it was my night job. I always said it was my corporate social responsibility initiative, but it didn't happen at work because we were quite a small company. So it's finding time, and it's finding time to shop differently, not just to go to one great big supermarket and buy everything, to try and think, actually, can I buy better? So personally, those are some of the challenges. Now, actually, it's managing all the volunteers. One of the things we've done this year is we've actually bought over the winter and we retrofitted a 1974 milk float. which we call our Inspiration Eco Station. So it's a mobile stand that with inspiring, colourful messages and displays that goes out to shows and events and schools. And then when we go, we sign people up to our newsletter, and people are constantly saying, I want to volunteer, I want to help, what can I do? Managing the volunteers we've already got, which is probably some of them only for an hour here, an hour there, but I don't know, 120 of them. Managing them is hard enough, but now we're taking the float out. We've been to 20 odd events this year. We've got loads more people that want to help too. So actually managing the volunteers and also trying to get some bigger grants. So we're not spending all our time applying for grants and writing reports, monitoring reports at the end of the grant period. So rather than doing all that paperwork, actually, we want to be talking to the people and working with the people rather than doing all this paperwork. So those are the two greatest challenges for me.
So it sounds like your role, if you like, within the organisation has changed quite dramatically from when it started.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So in the early days, it was me and it was my family, my very, very supportive family, my mum, my son, my husband. And then gradually it grew. I am in a sort of a management role. I'm getting sucked back into sitting behind my computer for too much time for my liking. We've got volunteers in 16 villages within Horsham District who manage single-use plastic recycling and run that recycling scheme for their villages. And it comes through Sussex Green Living. We recycle it and raise money. And they are becoming like our little climate champions in the villages. And we're helping them to set up environmental hubs in their villages.
And I imagine that having success stories, having real life examples of the impact helps to get grants and to show that what your charity is doing is making a difference. What stories stick in your mind as being really impactful?
One that springs to mind is actually in about 2016, a local lady interviewed me for a local magazine. And she's a mum, and subsequently my son's gone to her son's school. And I didn't know until about 3 years later that actually that interview she did for that article inspired her to go away and think, well, she as a mum did something and made a difference. And so she went away and she went to her church and she said she wanted to set up a green management team. They've changed the church to renewable energy. They've changed lots and lots of things within their family of 4 churches. And now we're working with those churches, but that's about 3 years later. So that's an example of the ripple effect, really, of inspiring people.
It's wonderful to hear that. Any other memorable stories that stick in your mind?
Another amazing example of the ripple effect is when we launched the Horsham Repair Cafe. At the first one, we only had textile repairers, and we thought, right, okay, we'll recruit others and then we'll progress. And actually, at the first repair cafe, we had about 3 electricians through the door, retired electricians who said, we love what you're doing. We're with you. We'll be with you every time the repair cafe pops up. And they have been. So not only did we instantly recruit a team of volunteers, repairers, but we also had scouts, I call them, from other towns that we'd worked very closely with Transition Town Worthing and Transition Chichester, for example. And then they set up repair cafes and we helped them. So since 2017, we've probably set up about 10 repair cafes, maybe 12, I don't know, lost track really. That's a real success story. And subsequently, we've set up a climate cafe. And again, we helped about 3 of those form in other areas. So it's the ripple effect.
And what do you see as the vision for the charity? If you were looking 5 years ahead from now, what do you envisage success to be?
We're actually currently writing a 3-year strategy for the charity, which for a small environmental charity is quite an unusual thing, not unusual for a business, of course. But we want to apply for core funding so that we can actually multiply our effect. So we are hoping to actually employ someone else. At the moment, I'm the only employed member of staff. So we've got ambitions to set up an open eco home trail in Horsham, which will become very, very visible. It's where people open up their homes. We advertise their features in their homes that are particularly eco, and the members of the public can go along and visit and learn how those people, those families made changes. No big sales pitch, but that makes all of these solutions that are out there so much more transparent. We're very keen on setting up Community Energy Horsham, which is another big project, but that will make a real difference to create renewable energy as a community project
It strikes me, Carrie, as you're speaking, that your skills, perhaps from the video business that you were running around storytelling and communication, are really also important in what you're doing now. And that the message that I'm getting from how you're describing green living is about inspiration. It's about showing people what's possible and then encouraging and inspiring them to want to do it, as opposed to shaming them into feeling guilty because they're not doing something. Am I picking that up correctly?
You are very good. You are picking up correctly the fact that it's always what I've said. We have to inspire people into change and not frighten them into change. Prior to the COVID pandemic, I did go out and do talks on climate change. And in some circles in particular, it was really important to share the quite shocking effects of climate change. Last year, we decided we really needed to find an even more inspiring way to engage people in the climate, ecological, and extinction crisis. And so we dreamt up the Inspiration Eco Station. That was my crazy idea. I presented to the trustees. I said, you're going to think I'm a nutter, but I want to use a milk float. Anyway, they thought it was brilliant. And so did the funders. So that's good. And we also dreamt up the Bright New Future Roadshow, which is other environmental educators who are so inspire me all the time. And we go out together and we're a pop-up environmental festival with a 6-ton lorry powered with recycled cooking oil that's painted with the evolution of planet Earth, a mobile woodland theatre. I mean, it's incredible. And this nutty milk float. And we use environmental music to help to show people that actually literally show them what a bright new future can look like. Because unless they can visualize it, they're not going to be able to travel the journey to get there. On the back of the float, there's a beautiful landscape that one of our volunteers painted, and it is a future landscape. I mean, it shouldn't be future, it should be what we've got now, but it is a sustainable landscape. So it's literally about showing them the solutions.
I can't help but get a sense of that energy and passion that you have, Carrie, for this way of living that you're trying to espouse within others as well. You mentioned the word inspiration there about those people that you're collaborating with. So I'm wondering who inspires you or what inspires you to keep going?
Well, the volunteers. I call them the Green Cavalry or sometimes the Green Army, depends on who I'm speaking to, whether it's the stick or the carrot approach. But they inspire me because they all come to events or to the Repair Café, the Sussex Green Hub, willingly to share their passion and their ideas. At the end of the Sussex Green Hub, where the Repair Café pops up, we all go home buzzing, just buzzing and re-energized, tired but re-energized, and we feel part of a magical, unique community that needs to pop up, and it is popping up in villages all around us. It's so exciting. Also, one of our Bright New Future Roadshow partners, Nicola Peels, she's one of the people that inspired me back in 2012. She's an incredible environmentalist and comes out on our roadshow. Al Gore, his was one of the films that I watched in 2011, and that inspired me into action. And I subsequently, in 2016, trained with him as part of the Climate Reality Leadership Corps. I went to Manila to train with him and climate change scientists. So I am part of a network of 35,000 climate reality leaders around the world and about 750 of us in the UK. So when I need help or inspiration, we work together.
Sounds like you've made an amazing journey from, as you described it, being just a mum to having such a major influence and positive impact on the world, effectively.
Yeah, we can all do it, can't we? I was a mum on a mission with marketing and communications background, but I started it with, well, I was using my pension, my money, but it didn't need to take a lot of money. That's the whole point about green living. So it's finding people that inspire you, finding solutions, and then sharing those solutions. One of the networks that I haven't even mentioned is Nicola Peel and I were co-founders of the Southeast Climate Alliance, which is an alliance of environmental groups across Kent, East Sussex, West Sussex, Surrey and Hampshire. And they are people like us in the Southeast that are trying really hard to make changes within their community. So again, they are our inspiration. We work together to push for change, mainly targeted at the councils.
So if there was a listener listening to what you're saying, Carrie, and they're getting inspired and thinking, there's me in my small town or village somewhere in the world, how would you recommend that they get started?
find your local group, join them, be part of it, and work with them. Share the skills that you've got with them and work together, and read, watch documentaries. We've got a web page, our favourite documentaries and books. But learn and share that knowledge and take small steps and keep changing and keep going forwards, and then share what you've done with others.
You make it sound so simple. I hope that your message today has inspiring our listener to not only think, but to act as well, from what you've said, Carrie. If you were going back to your childhood self and reflecting now on where you've got to in life and the impact that you've had, what advice you would have given to your 16-year-old self?
I went to college and I did environmental studies, but only for a year to get an extra O level. I would have stayed. Actually, if I could go back, I would have studied the environment because I am passionate about it, as you can hear. Also, throughout my life, I have travelled to beautiful places. I am very lucky. Yeah, if I had the knowledge, the environmental knowledge then, I wouldn't have done that. I loved exploring the world and beautiful places. I loved to go. I only went probably once on safari, but I adored it. It was magical. It was amazing. And that's quite hard. That's probably the hardest thing. I've got a 13-year-old son, and I'd love him to see some of the places I've seen. But I know that I did damage. If I'd gone to university to study the environment when I was 16, 17, 18, I wouldn't have done all those things.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing you talk about the knowledge of travel gives you an appreciation of the global outlook, the differences in the world. And yes, there's a consequence to that travel too. So it gives us both the upside and the downside.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
So people want to find out more about you and Sussex Green Living and all these amazing, inspiring things you've been talking about today, Carrie. How might they do that?
Well, if they go to sussexgreenliving.co.uk, there's a pop-up window. They can sign up to our newsletter. We send out a newsletter once a month. We include small green steps, big green steps, and news about where we're going and what we're doing. And find your local environmental group. And you can go on repaircafe.org, which is an international site. You put your postcode in, you can find your nearest repair cafe. But us, we're in the social media as well. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, you can find us there.
Fantastic. Well, we'll put all the links on the podcast show notes so people can follow up if they want to. It's been lovely to talk to you today, Carrie. I love your energy and commitment for the mission that you're on. I wish you well as you move forward.
Thanks very much. Thanks for inviting us today, Sue.
Well, I hope you found Carrie's story inspiring and it maybe made you think about what more you can do to create a more sustainable world. Remember, you'll find all transcriptions for every episode on our website, accesstoinspiration.org. And you can sign up for our newsletter too to keep track of upcoming episodes by going to the foot of the homepage. We're also on social media. You'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Just search for Access to Inspiration. Next time, I'll be talking to Zach Moreno and Rock Felder, co-founders of Squadcast, the remote recording platform that we and thousands of other content creators use to record their podcasts. And I'm keen to find out more about their journey to make an impact in the podcasting world. I hope you will join me then.